on this episode of the Naturist Living Show, Noodles the Movie.
This episode of the Naturist Living Show is brought to you by Bare Oaks Family Naturist Park. At Bare Oaks, we offer traditional naturist values in a modern setting. Free your body, free your mind. www.bareoaks.ca.
Welcome, dear listener, to episode 145 of the Naturist Living Show. My name is Stéphane Deschênes. I'm your host for this podcast and the owner of Bare Oaks Family Naturist Park. And today we are going to talk about a movie that's been all over the news and another naturist movie. But first, we need to hear from Sam.
Hi, everyone. Thanks again so much to all of our very dedicated Patreon supporters. Your support monthly is so very much appreciated. This episode is brought to you by the very generous donations of Mark M., Sam K., Michael C., John Stephen H., and Michael C. Thank you again to those Patreon supporters and all of our continued monthly supporters. Your generosity is so much appreciated.
From early in the 20th century in this movement, people were trying to make movies because the visual is an important way to promote what we do, because it really is one of those situations where the picture is worth 1,000 words, and we've talked about this before, that we can talk and we can write all we want, but people can't seem to believe it until they see it. Of course, sometimes they see it and it's for the wrong reasons, and that's where a lot of the exploitive movies were done in the mid-20th century. But it's still an important part. There's some very important movies that have been done out there. And we've certainly talked about it before. Mark Story's written a book about it, and there's an episode where we interview him about that. And we talk about the importance of the movie. But it's a lot of work, and it's really hard to get a professional movie done. In North America, as far as I'm concerned, there really hasn't been any Hollywood-level movie done. But a lot of people on small, tight budgets have done some impressive stuff, and we've interviewed them as well. Mark, sorry, cut that last part out. Tim Chizmar, who's done a bunch of interviews for the show, and you've heard of before, is, as I'm sure you know from him talking about it, is a movie maker, very active in Hollywood. He's an actor, he's a comedian. And he wrote this script, and he took on this idea of creating a movie called Noodles. And he asked me and a number of people to participate in it, so I'm actually in the movie, but that's not why we're putting out here. We're putting out here to talk about how movies are made, what it takes, and why it's important, how do you get there. So I sat down virtually, of course, because he's all the way out in California, or Vegas. He goes back and forth. I don't know where he was at the moment. And we talked about what it took to get this movie out there. And once it was out there, how you actually got it promoted and how you got people to actually watch it. Because to make the movie is only half the job.
Hey, I'm back!
Yes, you are. This time, okay, a long time ago, we did an interview. Then you became the interview guy, and now you're the subject again.
Yes. It's me, it's him, it's TIM. And the thing that I think is adorable is last time I was on, I believe I was telling you about how I really wanted to make a nudist movie. And now I've made a nudist movie, and you were in it.
Exactly, and that's what we're talking about today. So, the Nudels of Nudeland. Do I pronounce that right? Noodles? Nudels?
Yep, noodles, yep.
Noodles, the noodles like noodles, okay, like pasta.
Yeah.
So, for people who haven't seen it, give me a quick overview. What's the movie?
Well, it's a film about two people who are not living their authentic, true selves. They're in a textile world, but they're nudists, and both get expelled from their countries into the fictional land of Nudeland, where everybody is naked. And there we discover that even without clothes, we've taken a lot of issues from our time in the normal society with us, baggage and issues and shame, and so we're haunted by demons of insecurity, and we have to overcome that in order to live happily ever after. And there's a lot of wacky characters, and it's really just fun.
Cool. Yeah, including myself, the wacky character which is the president of Nudeland.
You're the Prime Minister of Nudeland.
Oh, Prime
sir.
Minister. Sir. Yes, of course, Prime Minister. My apologies. So, where did the story come from?
Well, it came from my noggin. I decided that. So I've worked in entertainment, movies, TV, film, web series, books, comics, blah blah blah, stand-up comedy tours, pro wrestling. Should I keep going? I've done a lot of stuff, and I've always been a nudist, and I really desperately wanted to create a nudist film project to put it out into the world. And there was multiple reasons for that. Number one, nobody was listening to me say that I wanted to do this project. I didn't get a call from Warner Brothers saying, "Oh, Tim, come to the lot on Tuesday." So since nobody was responding in a positive way to what I wanted, now I had done fully nude stand-up comedy tours that went all through Southern California, and I had interest from Showtime and Playboy and people like that who wanted to get involved in some aspect, but never for a film, never for a TV show. So I really feel like I'm blazing new ground here on things that people don't even think about the way that we do. So I had to write it myself. And I knew that I wasn't able to pull on the investors that I can for other projects. I don't know if you watched it. I sent you a link for the screener for Hell's Coming for You. Did you watch that?
Oh, no, I haven't seen it yet. No, I did see your link, but I haven't looked at it.
All right. Well, I just wanted you to see it because I wanted you to see what the difference is like with a real budget. So Hell's Coming for You is under $1 million, and it looks like it's under $1 million. We have shootouts, we have hot air balloon stunts, we have, celebrity cameos, we have all kinds of stuff that we shot for almost a month in Las Vegas and blah, blah, blah. But the point is, those kinds of money offers don't come to a project like this because it's so niche. And nobody knows if it'll make money because everybody lies. All the people who have done anything nudist related won't give you a straight answer. And, it's been very frustrating because I've reached out to those folks. And that was another motivating factor for me to make this movie, was because a lot of the few nudist related entertainment ventures that are out there are not truly nudist. They're only in name only. But when you watch the damn thing, and I will, happily put a few on blast since they're out there, Act Naturally. Act Naturally is the nudist comedy that has no real nudist actors in the movie. Do I need to say it again? It also has lines like, "I want to fuck your smell." It's not a nudist film. It is not in any aspect. They're also ashamed of their own genitals. You hardly see it. They're holding books in front of it. And I could go on with other ones as well. And it just, nobody truly embraces being a nudist and a film that backs up the kind of mindset that we have, which is non-sexual, family-friendly, a good time, and they just happen to be naked. So I wanted to step up and put my money where my mouth was, and that's the other thing. The film has 3 investors on the financial side. I have one guy, Dylan Dilligaff. I have another guy, I don't remember his name right now. He put in a little bit of money, and then it was me. And then as far as sweat equity and time, Corky Stanton from clothesfree.com was my MVP, and that was it. That was the core group that really got behind this little baby.
So what kind of budget are we talking about?
Like $40,000.
Wow.
Yep.
And normally, how much does it cost to make a movie?
Well, like $120,000. Now there are movies that have been shot really low, but you have to, when you say movie, you can't put Thanksgiving, which was shot for $5,000 for like super garbage, nothing networks, compared to, Pulp Fiction or Schindler's List. You know what I mean? So there's a spectrum. A
Sure.
Marvel film is 500 million dollars, to make, Shang-Chi or whatever. But by and large, you want to be around 100K to make it look like a film, to actually have the kind of sets and locations and insurance, and these are the kinds of things you have to have involved to really do a true movie. And so what I got was primarily one location, a handful of actors, a script I wrote, my team, which was no more than a few camera crew, sound guys, a drone pilot, and then I did the most post that I could. I put an animated opening together. You saw I paid for animation. I hired people to do an original song, which I wrote. I wrote the lyrics to, and I worked with them to make sure that was like a little catchy tune. So we got original music. We got an animated opening. We have fun cuts. We have a program that we subscribe to called Storyblocks that allows you to use footage that has been shot by somebody else, but is kind of like public domain-ish. And so that was all the animals and the waterfalls and all that kind of stuff. So we were able to insert those things in to hopefully make it look a little bigger than it was, throw a little stardust in the eyes. And by the way, that's a big deal that I just told you. We spent about $40K on it because, like I told you, filmmakers lie. Everybody lies. Everybody lies. Everybody says, oh, it was $1 million. And that's because they're hoping a distributor will look at it and say, oh, $1 million. Well, we'll give you half of that, kid. And then they're happy because they only spent, $100K on it, so they made $400K. I have nothing to, I don't care. I'll be open and honest about the whole process with you because I'm hoping I inspire other people to get off their ass and do this.
So you're not lying. You're telling us the actual number.
Yeah. Otherwise, Otherwise, I would say, but I feel like it's also kind of endearing that I say it's 40K. There was a movie out called what the hell was it? There was a sci-fi movie about time travel, Primer, and the guy was honest about the budget, and it was something really low that he did out of his own pocket, and he pulled favors from friends and all this. And then after he did that, he said he regretted telling people the budget because in all the reviews and everything, people would say, "Oh, it's pretty good for such a small budget. Oh, it's pretty good for just a little bit of money." And so it kind of came back to bite him in the ass. But I really don't care. I'm pretty happy with what I did. I think I think we did what I said I wanted to do. It's honest, it's real, it's silly, it's ridiculous, it's true. It has nudists that you would run into on a nude beach, people who are legitimately nudists. My co-star, and we can get into the cast and all that, but Juliana Acosta, when you go to a nude beach, Bates Beach in California, you'll run into her and her boyfriend Michael because she's really a nudist. I didn't cast somebody who was like, okay, I'll be naked, but how many scenes and for how long and shooting from what angle? Fuck that. These were real nudists, and they're like, that's my lifestyle. Let's do this.
I know. I think it's important for people who are listening. This is not a trade podcast talking to people from the industry. People have no idea how much it costs to make a movie. They keep hearing millions and millions of dollars. Right. And then they know that they can make a movie on their phone for nothing. So somewhere in between, like $40,000, that's actually an impressive budget compared to probably most videos that people are shooting out there to do stuff. So, will you make your money back? You said they're investors. Are they going to make money?
They have. They've all made their money back, and I am in the clear now. I figured we'd
good
do
for
it
you.
Chronologically and like talk about pre and then shooting and then post. But if you want to jump over it, I'll tell you right now. We've sold it to Troma now. It debuts on September 1st, so that's a streaming platform that is available on Roku, Google Play, Apple TV, Amazon TV. I still have it in the contract that I can sell it myself off of my website. We have physical media offers from a couple of people, so we're probably going to put out a Blu-ray a little bit later this year with commentary tracks and all that. And I sold it to All Channels, and All Channels is getting it on Tubi and a bunch of other places. So, but one of the things that I wanted to do, because again, this is all a mystery. Nobody ever gives you straight answers. I wanted to see if I shot this movie and I offered it myself through the channels of nudist groups, clubs, organizations, and advertising. I went with Film Thread. I went with October Coast. there's so much I could say, but I was able to make back over the budget, pay off all the people who came involved, all the people who worked on the film, and yes, we are in the clear going into more money from these distribution hookups. So that's why I can say, and we can get to that later, I'm very excited about the future for doing another project, because now, and that's why I sent you that link, I wanted you to see what it looks like with a real budget. I would like to, now that I can say that people can make money doing this kind of thing, I would like to put together a real budget to shoot a nudist film up to the standards and levels of something mainstream.
So who's this audience? Who are you selling it to? Is it just nudists who are watching it? Or do you think it appeals to textiles as well?
Yeah, I think that it does appeal to textiles as well, but in more of a, for now, kind of a like almost on a dare. I feel like kind of the Jackass vibe. I feel like people are like, "What? It's what?" Because that's the responses in the comments I get. I either get from real nudists who are like, "This is great. This is wonderful. You know, congratulations. Oh, this is great. My club, my group, whatever. We're streaming it. We're watching it." Or I get people who are textiles and they're like, "You did what?" And they want to see it out of shock and amazement. So. And that ties into the Jubilee Spectrum video that I did that has over 1,200,000 views on the clothed version and then 400,000 views on the nudist version. That came out before I shot this movie, and that was another reason I was so excited to get into it when I saw that kind of response on YouTube of all these people debating and discussing, and you know, and even how I rub people. Some people are like, "I wish I had his confidence. I wish I was so, you know, I love myself the way that Tim loves himself." And then other people are like, "That guy's obnoxious and overbearing." And so it's just fun to watch people just, you know, it's the same thing, but they take something different out of it. So, but we did that. That was a success. I met Rochelle Brown on the set of that, who I ended up casting as one of the noodles in the movie. And I don't know if you know this or not, but Jubilee asked me back to do their series Ask Me Anything, where they put somebody, it could be a blind person, a drug addict, whatever, and then they have a barrier up and they bring in strangers that ask them questions about that particular person. And so I was the nudist, and they hit me up and they said, "We want you to come back in, and we're going to have strangers ask you questions that they would have about nudism." And I knew, Stefan, going in, that I didn't want to be answering questions about women in this day and age. I didn't want fat, white, naked man talking about breastfeeding and you know, bleeding. So I made sure that even though they wanted to do one person answering all these questions, I wanted somebody to be with me. And knowing marketing a little bit like I do, I reached out to Juliana, and so I got her cast. And so it was Tim Chizmar and Juliana Acosta as the two nudists being asked all these questions about nudism, and I'm linking the link to
How would you describe it? Comedy, drama, what kind of a film is it?
I would say a awareness comedy. I think there's no way to get away from the fact that there's definitely a message. You know, it has a specific point of view.
Yeah. And does it take itself seriously, or is it making fun of itself?
It's making fun of itself, but art is subjective, and some people can take different. I think that it's silly and ridiculous. I mean, we have a reverse streaker who's running around the nudist resort showing people he's clothed, and you know, you are Pierre Mustache. That's your name. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's an easy, cheap joke. So like the whole movie is like ridiculous and out of the box. But I've had some people, obviously the majority of the critics and stuff are going to be from the textile world, and they've said that I was very like almost to the point of belligerent about my lifestyle, like really beating people over the head about it. And, you know, taking that into account, perhaps I could have been softer in certain spots. But I felt like this was my opportunity to get on my soapbox. And because, you know, I'm literally the king of my castle in this movie about nudism. So what better place to really beat him up about? And plus, I believe it's right. So I don't want to necessarily pussyfoot around and be too soft. Look, if I made a movie about interracial dating in 1960, I might be up there talking about, and you should be allowed to date black people and white people together, and if you don't say so, then you're stupid. And somebody at the time would be like, he's belligerent, he's really beating us with this. But it's the right frame of mind. It's the right thing. And history will show that it's right. And I feel that way about nudism. I truly believe that we're on a path that hopefully before I die, people can be naked, and it's not going to be such a big freaking deal.
Yeah, you're right. Like most movies out there are definitely selling, they're proselytizing about naturism or nudism, and obviously I'm there, and this movie is definitely doing that as well. Do you think it might convince people? Do you think that textiles will watch this and go, "Yeah, I got to try this"?
No, it'd be easy for me to say yes, but no. I believe that I'm preaching to the choir. I was asked that on AM 640 KFI. It's like the biggest talk radio station in Los Angeles, and they asked me that. And when they hit me, the first thing that popped up in my head is, for show and for shtick, I should absolutely say, oh yeah, people are watching and they're just taking their clothes off. But the truth is no. The truth is it's still so outlandish of an idea that people don't get it. They don't get what I'm really saying. And so the more I push and I try to show that sane, enthusiastic, healthy people of all ages and sizes and colors, and that people are doing this and that they're living it, it's really gonna take them meeting nudists, them knowing nudists. And so that's why the awareness, if anything, I feel like my message is kind of turning more towards, come out of the closet, my fellow nudists, and let people know that the mailman and the neighbor and their uncle are nudists, so that we're not those people over there, those weirdos, but we're one of you. You know us. We're your doctor, your lawyer, your teacher. Nudists are just people. And so I don't know. So it's a step at a time. But I don't want to do a movie where it's somebody who's a fish out of water. I don't want to do a movie where there is somebody who is not a nudist who stumbles upon a nudist community and they have to learn about it for the first time, because I just feel like that's really hack. And the kind of projects I like doing, I like it to just be that they are nudists. So, for example, the next movie, if I do it, it might be at a resort involving... I want people to... Because I want that discussion and debate. People loop nudity in with sex. And when you look at the warnings for a movie that you watch on Netflix or something, it always says, warning, nudity and sex. And they put it together. It's not the same thing. If I had naked people playing chess, how stupid are you that you freak out? And then you're like, oh, this is perverted. This is disgusting. Why? Because they just castled? What's the problem here? What's the issue?
Oh, I know exactly. It is, I'll give you that totally. That this is not your typical plot. I mean, the accidentally stumbling, waking up, whatever, in a nudist camp is such a trope. It's just ridiculous. It's like every story starts like that, inheriting it. It doesn't matter what it is. What? Grandpa was a nudist? What?
Right.
Anyway. So I'm glad. That's certainly refreshing, and I love this story from that standpoint. Absolutely, and you quoted an interview. You have, big pun intended, had lots of coverage, and been really lots of exposure too. Haha, 2 puns. There you go. So tell me about that. How come? How did you get all that? Hard work?
Some hard work, and then I also put up my money for it. I hired a PR firm for a month. They're called October Coast, and they went around setting up interviews. I was on Sirius XM. I was in newspapers. I was in websites. I was all over the place. Part of that was for it to influence Rotten Tomatoes. Unfortunately, a lot just because you review movies doesn't mean that Rotten Tomatoes acknowledges your review. So that's very frustrating. But if you look up a lot of the movies, Naked in the 21st Century, Naked in America, Maslin Beach, Act Naturally, all these movies, if you look them up on Rotten Tomatoes, they got nothing. No legit critics even acknowledges that they exist. And if you don't believe me, look it up. My movie has 5 reviews. 2 got it and liked it, and 3 didn't understand it. So it's currently a splat at 40%, but just barely. And there are some outlets I could go with where it'll drive up more critics. And so if I get a couple more that like it, then it'll turn the curve. But for now, I'm just really excited that I'm seen, that real critics have taken the time to acknowledge and talk about it and see it, and that's great. So the PR stuff, I went with Film Threat, which is a big company that does reviews and promotions and online and interviews and all this kind of stuff. And I was on there and spoke about this. And then I did October Coast, and then I did PR Newswire. So I put out some Newswire blasts as well. So yeah, I'm never shy.
That's pricey.
Yeah, that was some money. But I felt like it was worth it. I want people to know about this movie, and so yeah, there's that. In pre-production, I got the animated the guy who did the opening animation. I did the original song, and then the most music besides background instrumentals in the film was from 2 bands that I love, that I always wanted to highlight in a feature, and that's Patchouli and Christy Kruger, and both of them I knew from when I was in college, and they were touring around, and they came through, and I was running a radio station, and I've always said if I was going to do something like that, because they have the kind of vibe and music that I wanted in the film, and everything was very thought was given to all of the things, even if I didn't have huge bucks to make it happen. Like if you notice, the woman who plays S.K. Marshall, the painter, her paintings that are on display of nudes underwater and all that, she's a real painter. Those are her paintings. She paints nudes underwater, and she has, a whole thriving business of it. She just came to Vegas and opened an art studio. And so I wanted these people involved because I want to show various aspects of the nudist culture and community and who exists. And yeah, so everything led up to us shooting at Arroyo del Sol, part of the Clothing Optional Home Network. We were there for under a week, and I always knew from the beginning I wanted to get you involved too. And that goes with what I was saying. I wanted familiar faces from the nudist community that people can say, hey, I know that guy, or hey, I know that woman, and I wanted to create the nudist cinematic universe where people can get these appreciations of other projects and media entities that exist within our world.
So let's talk about the production. So you have an idea, you write a script, and then what?
Well, I had to decide when I was going to do it. I had to decide about the money. So I put up some money, and then I approached 2 investors, and one was interested in just seeing what it was like to be attached to a film. And so he put up some money, and then I did a contract and promised him, X amount return and all this. And then there was another guy that I approached for the larger sum of money, 10K. He put up $10,000, and he wasn't a nudist, and he doesn't get it, but he likes me, and he knows that we've done some other projects together, stand-up comedy tours and stuff like that. But he put up some money, and so he did it just based on me, and and an adventure together and see what happens. And so once I had the money put together, I needed to figure out where I was going to shoot this, and there was some time where I was thinking about shooting it at Shangri-La Nudist Resort in Arizona, because the people there are really easy to work with and fun and cool, and they have a reputation with Corky of having shot stuff for CFI there. But mostly for the actors, LA seemed like a better shot. So I reached out to Rolf Hallbach and Cynthia from the Arroyo del Sol, and once I locked that in and made sure that I wanted to buy out a large part of where they, because what they have a nudist bed and breakfast, and so they have a house that you can rent out, and it's full-on house. Then they have the grounds, the swimming pool, the trees and the grass and all this. And then they have an upstairs area as well. And so I bought out a bunch of it. And then Corky came with his RV, and he parked his RV out in front of the property. So that's where he was staying, and a few of the crew members. And And that's what we ended up. We worked out an arrangement. I think they gave me a little discount to shoot there because they knew what I was doing, and then we just decided when it was going to be. Now, a big part of the process was casting, because I wrote it with some people in mind who ultimately didn't want to do it. People have their own proclivities, and when you involve nudism, a film is around forever. And so, for example, I had people who were willing to perform at my nude stand-up comedy shows where they were entertaining and fun and a great to have around, and I really loved them to death. And so I was thinking, oh man, so they're gonna love being in a movie. They do comedy, they're naked. This will be perfect up their alley. And then no, I'm getting, because people don't want to be captured on film, and I understand some of the aspects, if they have kids, or if they have a divorce and they're fighting for custody of kids, or it could affect their job, or like these, and plus idiots look at it and they think it's porn, they think it's sex related, and no matter what we say, some people never listen. So I had to recalibrate some of the stuff. And then on the other aspect, so I just told you about me approaching people who have been nude in the past but wasn't able to do it for this. I then was also approached by tons of people who wanted to be in the movie naked, but they had been in sex work. And so for the nudist population, I would get a lot of backlash and people not wanting to be involved if I had people who had an OnlyFans or a porn video out or something like that. So I had to be really careful about who I let be involved in that aspect as well. And it's not so much that I wanted to slut shame, as they call it, but it was the people that I have to answer to. Now, I wasn't taking any money from any groups like Anner or the Naturist Society or anything like that. So it's not like I was beholden to certain rules, but I know the industry. And if I'm going to get any press with any of these organizations, they're not likely to get involved if people have been used in some sex aspect. Which, let me just say this. I told you I just reshot that Jubilee video with Juliana. One of the things that she shared with me was how disappointing it is that when I did my Jubilee Spectrum video, where there were 6 nudists and they asked us questions, and then we debated and discussed about what we agreed with and what we didn't. Out of those 6 nudists who are representing the nudist community, about a year later, 3 of them are in porn.
Oh.
And so she was telling me just how disappointing and sad that is. And I feel like it's by the way, I'm not one of the ones that are in porn, just so you know. Let me just
Good to know.
Out. Yeah. Day's not over yet. No, the thing is, I feel like that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because, like, for example, an attractive woman loves being naked, and then everybody keeps asking for sex stuff, and eventually she says, well, if I can make money at it and everybody wants it anyway, So that's sad. It's sad that the culture kind of, I don't know. Is it fair that I even say it's sad? I know everyone wants to be like, do whatever you want. What do you think, Stefan, about? Have you seen that? Have you noticed that?
I have seen. It's I've seen that a lot of the people who are active as nudists online, and there's always pressure, more and more pressure to go in that direction. And sure, yeah, there's money. I can't blame anybody who's getting the money, but what I've seen is it also hurts their souls eventually, because it takes away from that feeling of the purity of naturism and the acceptance. The other way is the opposite way, because it doesn't end with, I'm just going to do some light porn. Then there's always a bigger demand. I want you to do this or do that, and it gets more and more perverse as you go.
Right.
And so where do you cut? It's a line, right?
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line? That you don't do any is one line, or you do some, but how far do you go? At the end of the day, it's a line, and you have to decide what you're comfortable with and what you're not. And I'm not going to criticize anybody for doing it, but I can tell you that I know a lot of people that go in that direction. It hurts their soul.
I agree. I have a friend of mine who lives in Las Vegas, and she's been nominated in the Porn Awards, the AVNs, twice, and she has two daughters, and she's trying to distance herself from it because of that. She can't. She can't have a regular, normal life because people find out and guys think she's easy and everybody's trying to have sex with her and all this. Anyway, I've seen the same. I've seen that it does eat your soul no matter how much you want to try to act like it's liberating and whatever. And no, it unfortunately.
Yeah, the problem is not what they're doing; it's the people they're doing it for and interacting with. And,
yeah.
The naturists, if they're really naturists or nudists, are pretty pure. I'm biased. The two of us are,
Sure.
but I think we're pretty pure in how we interact with people. And once you get into porn, then it becomes more about objectification and possession and control, and there's abuse sometimes that comes with it. And
Right.
if somebody's willing to offer you a lot of money, do you do that too? Everything's about intent, right? If I'm naked with you like this, it's not sexual, it's not porn or whatever. But if somebody is paying to, get off on just looking at me naked, then is it porn now? And what if I have to start doing things myself? Then I guess it becomes more porn. But I can just be naked and be porn, or I can be naked and just talk to you. What you need is the intent of the creator, that's me or you, but also the perception of the consumer of it. If I lift my foot up to the camera, if you have a foot fetish, I'm giving you porn.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're just going to go, what the hell are you doing?
Right. Well, the other weird thing is how society, because a lot of people are so sheltered, how they react to anything that they perceive to be outside of the norm in relation to nudity. Here's an example. My friend Mindy Robinson, who I've done movies with, I was just in a movie with her and Randy Couture and Dean Cain and all these. It's a demon scary movie, and it's out, just came out. Anyway, she started to get into politics. Well, here's the thing. In her acting, she's never done porn. But in her acting, she's been nude on film. Topless mostly, down to a G-string, whatever. And so some of her political opponents took the clips of her being in mainstream non-porn films and put those clips on Pornhub. So now all of her detractors say, oh, you can't vote for her. She's a porn star. If you don't believe me, look at Pornhub. And it's not, she's never done porn. Those are clips from mainstream films, and it's just insane to have to argue and fight. I'm a huge fan of logic and facts, and sometimes this stuff just makes my brain bleed, the kind of stuff that happens out there.
Oh, I know. I mean, if you go to, I think it's called, Mr. Skin? It's a website, and if you've had 2 seconds of your nipple showing,
Right.
It's on there. Like somebody's going to cut that out and put it there as a still, or if there's any kind of action as a short clip.
Right.
And I can see how that would be like, oh, ew. But then you have to remember, that's not you. They're the ones who are abusing you.
Right.
They're the bad guys. You haven't done anything wrong, and you have to keep perspective. Otherwise, you're going to hide in a cave and never come out.
But to bring it back to the Nudels of Nudeland, this is why people were apprehensive about being in my movie. They were worried about being on things like Mr. Skin. So I had to deal with what I had to deal with, and I had to move things around. And we ended up with we had some amazing surprises because first I needed my core 6 of people who were in the film. And is this a good, do you want me to start like breaking down the cast and talking about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So my core 6. Oh, and I was talking about this with you before we started. There is an amazing article about the movie that is in the current issue of the the magazine of Naturist Living from the Naturist Living Society, and it is an amazing spread, really well written by Mark Story. Which, did you know Mark Story was one of the inventors of World Naked Gardening Day?
I did actually. Yes, I know. He's
I did.
behind a lot of stuff.
I'm finding that out. He also wrote some great books on nudist film, and so I got on him about I need to be in the next one now. I make the cut. But this is great. He did like a multi-page breakdown, but and it's just fantastic. It warms my heart. As a young nudist, when I was growing up in Pennsylvania, going to Edinburgh University, posing for art classes and stuff, I read in the N magazine. That's where I got my dose of what nudism was like out there in the world. And I just I looked up to these people, and it was just so to be in there for me is like such a dream come true. Like I've come full circle that I'm one of the people that I hope maybe in some crazy way are influencing another generation of nudists coming up. And it's just, if I focus on it, you'll get a tear out of my cold dead eye. So anyway, the 6 actors that we wanted, that I ended up with as the core for the film, was Juliana Acosta, which I always say she is the star of the movie. I am the co-star. I am next to her, but it's all about her. And so for her she's an actress, she's a nudist, she gets it, she loves it, and she really comes across on screen. I feel like her emotions and whatnot, and our sex scene, which is clothed purposely, because we were having so much fun with the movie. She's told me that was the first time she's ever had a sex scene on camera. So at a certain point near the end, when things, spoiler alert, when we start to consummate our love, we are wearing clothes when we're rolling around in a bed laughing and intercutting of birds and bees and stuff. It's just a freaking hoot, but she's amazing.
So she's a professional.
As an actress, yes. She's also a director. She works at a theater, and she's done lots of other films. And yes, she is a working actress. She loves putting together projects, and after this one, she said she was inspired to make something of her own. I was actually just talking to another actress before I hopped on this with you, Adrian Pearson, who plays Lucy Fur, my girlfriend that breaks up with me and then shows up as changed at the end of the movie, and now she loves all this stuff. She's great. I've done some projects with her in the past. I love her to death, and she's inspired to want to do something of her own as well. So
yeah, because when you said you wanted real nudists, if you layer on top of that, you also want them to be professional actors. That gets to be a very small pool, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it wasn't easy. It was not easy. And so I tried to give the majority of the dialogue and the improv to people who were professional actors, comedians, improv artists, stunt people, which I'll get to that in a second here. Rochelle Brown, African-American nudist who runs nude events. She calls it nude, and they're kind of like Garden of Eden. Like you show up and there's hippie music and people lounging and hanging out and playing games and whatever. And she does these events for artists to mingle, and it's all body painting and fully nude and all this and that. And she was a hoot, so it was great to meet her and be able to get her involved in it, because originally I was talking to Ashante, who was in the Jubilee video, but she was from Belize. And so, and she also, I'm forgetting, because some opinions have changed over time. When I first approached her to be in my movie, she said no. Now, she had flew herself from Belize to the United States to do that Jubilee video that I was in with her. And then afterwards, I took her to a nude beach and we hung out, and it was always a good time. And so when I went back to her about being in my movie and she said no, it broke my widow heart. I was like, well, what the F? Like you came to the States for this, Jubilee video. Why don't you want to be a star of a movie? And she was getting paid, like everyone, got paid. But she didn't have the confidence that what I was going to do, like she had seen former Jubilee videos and she knew what they did, but she hadn't seen what I was going to do. So anyway, so that being done, then I was like, all right, well, I really want to show that nudists come in all colors and shapes and sizes. So I wanted it not just to be fat white guys. Anyway, so I reached out to Rochelle and I got her in. Anyway, once the movie came out and Ashante saw it, now she wants to be in my next movie. But she's one of the ones who has turned to sexual content. So I don't know if I can do that. I haven't told her that yet, but that's an issue I have. She has an OnlyFans. She's like masturbating on camera, stuff like that. It's just, anyway, it's just, I don't know. Jeremiah Benjamin. Jeremiah, the guy with the beard who plays Mondo Man, he is not only a nudist actor, comedian, But I used him in Hell's Coming for You. He was in that movie as well. Same with Joe Filippone, who was another nudist in this movie. Anyway, Jeremiah was great, silly, ridiculous, great for improv, knows his lines, just a real and an earthy nudist. He's like a Burning Man nudist. Like, for example, on set, he had a hammock that he hung up on 2 trees, and that's where he slept every night. And he loves to bicycle everywhere he goes. He tries not to use cars. What a interesting fella. Julie Ante was part of the naked plays in Hollywood, the precursor to Disrobed. So she was in like some of that stuff that build up to the Disrobed, and I've always been a fan of hers. And so I approached her, and we haggled over money a little bit, and we managed to land the plane and get her in the movie. And I was very happy and excited that we were, because she's a sporty, athletic, tough girl, true working actress, and always up for nudism, if it makes sense. So Al Burke, who played the cop, Officer D. Mann, he is a former professional wrestler and an actor who does most of his work is from playing a cop. So he has his own cop motorcycle. He has different cop outfits for all different states. He has, fake guns and flashlight and badges and all this kind of stuff. And he's been in really popular projects, movies, TV shows, music videos. He was in something with Billy Idol, and he was in like Party Rockin', I think it was called. So he's fantastic. That was the 6 core plus myself. And then from there, I branched off into involving my friends and personalities in the nudist community. But part of the joy that I ended up having when I was on set was that people would be filming with us, Stefan, and then they would say, oh, by the way, my friend Jasmine and Izzy, they're nudists, and they would love to be in your movie. Can they come and be in your movie? And of course, I'm like, yes, and yes. And so I would involve all these extra bit parts here and there, and I would try to make it a fun atmosphere on set where I would offer all the food and get in the pool in between shooting and, having fun, and I would, treat them well. And that ended up blossoming into, I would say, maybe 20 extra bodies in our film from people who were just happy with nudism, getting the vibe that it was a positive thing happening and that they weren't being exploited. Everybody who was involved had to sign a waiver. I don't want somebody to change their mind 2 years from now. Somebody gets married and their new boyfriend says, "You did what? I'm going to go after that guy." Hey, fuck you, fella. Here it is in writing. So it was amazing. It was great. And even at the bed and breakfast, there was a couple who happened to be coming through town from, I think, like San Francisco or something, and they wanted to stay at the nudist bed and breakfast. Well, I'm shooting a movie. So I talked to Rolf, and I'm like, Rolf, buddy, I know you want to have this extra person come in and pay to stay there, but, I paid to shoot a movie here. So if they're coming, they have to be in the movie. And I told him that, and he told them that, and they said, we'll be in his movie. And so the girl of the couple, she's in the scene where they throw the cups of water in my face. Nice. And her and him are in the swimming pool at one point when we go over and we talk to him a little bit. And it's just, I wanted to try to get as many bodies and people as we could. Jasmine, who does the pottery stuff, she's a local nudist potter who lives in California. And just, there were all these wonderful little blessings like that I was able to incorporate into the film, and I couldn't have planned for it. It just kind of came together.
So and you also needed, of course, a crew. Like, you needed somebody, camera operators, sound people. Are they nudists too? Were they nude?
Yes, they were. Not because I mandated it, but because I went through clothes free. And Corky does a lot of filming and production for his movies. And so we used some of his people. We had a drone operator. We had an assistant cameraman. And then some of my people who had been coming to work out as extras work in the industry. It's Hollywood. So somebody who shows up and they're like, oh yeah, I've been in a couple of movies. I've been on a couple of TV shows. Sure, I've held boom operatings on sets. And so while they were there, I'm like, all right, well, you want a credit for doing it in my movie? And so I ended up with probably 4 extra people who were now assisting with the crew to put all that stuff together. So, but in this smiley, happy land of rainbows and butterflies, can I tell you 2 problems I had on set?
Sure.
All right, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like, making movies is fun. Nothing bad ever happens. I don't. I don't want that to be the podcast where people are
Oh
like,
yeah,
you know
no,
what?
wait. It's hard work, right? Like, how
Yeah.
long did it take from start to finish? How long was it?
Almost a year, like 8 months.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. I always equate making a movie to a party. And so pre-production is the cups and the plates and the streamers and the balloons and like you're setting up all this stuff. And that takes, a long time. And then you're inviting all the people and you get the invitations and all this. That takes a long time. The actual party, very fast. That's, a few hours, it's done. Then you got cleanup. Now you're finding somebody put a cupcake behind the couch. And so, that's the cleanup aspect of it. Well, that's what making a movie is. Pre-production takes a long time. The actual production is bam, 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 bam. And then when it's all done, you're the ones adding color correction and ADR and all this kind of visual effects. And then, the proper format for this distributor and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, two things I want to say that were craps on set. I had an actor who no-showed. I had an actor who I hired to be in the movie who, you shoot a movie out of sequence. I don't know if you knew that or not, but
Sure.
you don't shoot it like what you see in the beginning and then the end. You shoot it in the order of what set you're at. Okay, every scene that takes place in the kitchen we're shooting today. So that's
Right.
scattered throughout the movie. Well, but my point is I hired somebody. I'm not going to give shade on who it is because I'm never going to cast them again. But this person is in the movie, and they did 2 days of filming and then didn't show up on the third day. Well, what am I going to do? Go back and reshoot all that other stuff with somebody else? So I had to get on the phone and beg and plead, kindly, to whatever their issue was, whatever their problem was, and I was able to convince them to come out even for a few hours. And then if you can go lay down on the bed to feel better, and all this kind of they were just dumping some BS angst on me, and so I okay, whatever we need, whatever. And meanwhile, in my head, I'm like, yeah. So I convinced them to come out, and then once they were on set again, they were fine and they blended right in. They had a great time. But for some damn reason, actor crazy brain got in there and they no-showed. And so I was like, what the heck am I going to do? So that was an issue I had to deal with. Another thing was one of the members of our crew had something that happened in their family. And there's nothing they could do about it to help the situation. But something happened to their family, and they decided that they needed to leave my set. That they needed to go home and be around their family because this thing had happened. So, for the sake of not giving details, let's say their house caught on fire, okay? So last night their house caught on fire and it burned down, and now their dad and their mom are saying you need to come home because the house burned down. And my argument is, the house burned down. You can't save that. Why don't you stick around for a few more days that I contractually obligated you to do and to pay you? Stay here, do your job, then go home. And their argument was, nope, I gotta leave, gotta go now. And they didn't just want to leave by themselves, they wanted the other crew to leave with them. And so they were trying to mutiny, sandbag my movie. And so thankfully, Corky Stanton did not go with this crew member. And he said, no, I agreed to do this with Tim, and I want to see what happens. And, I'm excited about making this movie. And so see ya, fella. He or she, whoever they may be. And so that person left the set, and then we had to kind of fill in on that aspect of what they were supposed to do technically. But I certainly couldn't have planned for that. So those were probably the two biggest pains in the ass, aside from money squabbles. You know what I mean? Some people who feel like they, want more money for this and that and whatever. I will say this. When the money came in from the movie, the people who didn't beat me up about money when we were shooting got paid handsomely more than they would have if they were just getting paid on set. So, for example, a good pay for an actor on a standard, even SAG film, is $120. That's what they get per day, plus per diem, hotel, meal, $120. So I was paying in that range. The people who beat me up about it, and they were like, "Oh, I'm doing nudity. I should get $300 a day, $300." And so I would eventually be like, all right, I'd kind of weigh the pros and the cons, and like I like them and I want them in the movie and I want quality, whatever. So I would pay, and again, I don't remember the exact details, but roughly, let's say I was like, okay, you get $300 a day for, 5 days for shooting the movie. That's what you get. Great. And then somebody else says, Tim, just hit me down the road. Whatever we can do, I'll do 120 a day for all the days. And then, if it makes money, hit me up later. Those people got a little surprise $2,000-$3,000 PayPal from me when things started turning around.
Nice.
Because I appreciate people who aren't dickheads.
Yeah. Next time you should include maybe some children and some animals in your filming to simplify things. Kids and animals in any film, like we used to do when I used to do commercials. If we had kids or animals, that was always a problem.
Ugh. Yeah. Well,
the
kid. I'm sorry. The kids thing is interesting because I don't know if you've been following Naked Gardens, that new nudist movie that just showed up at Tribeca, but they have naked kids in that movie because it's filmed at a nudist resort in Florida.
I've heard of it, yeah.
And it's a documentary format. And so all these critics and reviewers are talking about, the issues that arises. I think because I don't want to shy away from kids in movies, but at the same time, I get it that we're not in the era of Pretty Baby, with what the hell's her name? Brooke Shields. Yeah. So Brooke Shields was nude when she was 15 in Pretty Baby, and El Topo has a naked 8-year-old boy who's in like probably a quarter of the film.
That was exploitive. That was sexual. That's completely different than being in a nudist place.
I agree. I'm just stating the fact of somebody said, here is my underage kid who's going to be in this movie, and then it came out and it's streaming. You can watch it on Amazon. But however, nowadays, if I threw a naked kid in my movie that we were playing ball with or something, people would have freaked out. So what I think I'm going to do moving forward, because I don't want to act like kids don't exist, I think I'm just going to shoot them in ways that it's like from behind, like, and I don't even mean their butts. I mean like their backs and their head and their neck and that kind of, or they have a towel, or because I don't want to hide. For this movie, I had no kids in the movie because it's the first one. I didn't want to enter into that argument and debate and discussion. But in the future, I don't want to act like kids don't exist in the world. I want there to be kids around, but I just don't want it to be shot in a way that makes somebody who my film is an entry point into nudism. I don't want them to feel creepy or dirty in some aspect. So I think that's kind of what I want to do.
So you said you talked about Naked Gardens in the Tribeca Festival.
Yeah.
Are you entering any festivals? Are you going for any awards?
There are 2 festivals that I may enter. One is connected with Film Threat because they do awards for indie films that aren't recognized by main Hollywood. And since I went with them for a lot of the promotion and aspects, I'm eligible for it. So I'm going to do that for Hell's Coming For You, and I'm going to do it for this one. But Hell's Coming For You is submitted for Sitges in Spain. Like, that's the one that's giant. Like, that's the one that could get me A24 or IFC Midnight or a Shudder exclusive. And that's I shouldn't talk about them in the same breath. But for Noodles, it's the Film Threat Festival, and then also we were looking at American Film Market, so I might do something with that. And then the other one was now that it's sold to Troma, Lloyd Kaufman in Troma Films, Troma Now, the streaming service, he does a Troma Dance, which is a takeoff of what's the other one? The other film festival, something Dance.
I don't know.
Sundance. Come on, Sundance.
Sundance.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So he created Troma Dance because Sundance was so hard to get in. The gatekeepers were so high. It's like they call them indie, but they're indie with a $20 million budget with Clint Eastwood, So he created Troma Dance for people like me who did a passion project that not a lot of people will get a chance to see. So if anything, just probably those 3 festivals.
So if people want to watch it, where do they go?
Right this second, tomorrow, it debuts on the Troma Now streaming app, which I encourage people to check out. But The truth is that I would love, for all the bonus features and stuff, I would love for you to go to our website, which is thenudels.com. You can download it off of there, and you don't just get the movie. It's The Nudels, TheNudels.com, thenudels.com. You get the background information, you get bonus features, you get deleted scenes, extended scenes. You also have interviews with the cast and crew. You have a commentary track from myself, and anyway, and it's fantastic. So literally, you watch the feature, then you see the bonus features, and then you see the interviews with the cast and crew, and you can download it and watch it forever. So thenudels.com, and that is a great way to go. We also had screenings in Pasadena, so we had 2 sold out screenings for it, which was great. I do want to mention Josie Konski, who did a nudist movie years ago and didn't get the kind of attention that he wanted out of it. He's approached me about doing some future nude comedy projects together. We're talking about doing nude stand-up comedy tapings. We're talking about doing another movie. We were talking about doing a sitcom. I have a great idea for a nudist sitcom called Diamonds in the Buff. And the family is called the Diamonds. And then there's an exchange program where one of their nude family members goes to the textile world, and a textile girl comes to the Diamonds to live there. And at the end of every episode, there's like, what have they learned? Kind of like an old school 80s sitcom where there's a lesson about something related to nudism in society. And so it's called Diamonds in the Buff. And I figure I can shoot it at a soundstage where I have all the locations. Think of like Elf. You know what I mean? Like it's or Golden Girls. Like it's a sitcom where there's these sets, and the regular sets, and you bring in different. I can have guest stars from the world of nudism that show up each episode. So that's exciting. And I'm just excited about the future, man. There's so much good stuff on the horizon, and folks have reacted positively to what I'm putting out there. Not everybody gets it, but I don't care. I didn't make it for everybody. I made it for the people that that get it, want to get it, have an open mind, and I think it's going to age well. I think as I continue to make nudist content, we'll always be able to look back at that first one, and for all its bumps and bruises, there was something that I was trying to make out of it,
So that will be all for this episode of the Naturist Living Show. Thank you, as always, for listening. Again, my name is Stéphane Deschênes. I'm your host for this podcast and the owner of Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park. And I make the show with a lot of help from Samantha Graham, who you heard from at the beginning of the show. And because she makes the task so much easier by producing the show and doing the time-consuming editing. And so that's why, as she asked you, please support us on Patreon. Please support her on Patreon, because I don't get any of the movie. All the movie goes towards supporting her because she has to pay for her life. And this is something she does as a job, even though she spends a lot of time volunteering as well. So go to patreon.com/Naturist Living Show, all one word. You can find a link to all things we talked about in the show notes on the website at naturistlivingshow.com. And please keep sending your comments and suggestions. We really appreciate getting them. We read them all. We don't always have time to respond to them all. The show's email address is contact@naturistlivingshow.com. I hope you enjoyed the show, and that you'll join us again for the next episode of the Naturist Living Show.
This episode of the Naturist Living Show was brought to you by Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park. Traditional naturist values in a modern setting. Traditional values means that naturism is more than just taking your clothes off. It is a life philosophy with physical, psychological, environmental, social, and moral benefits. Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park strives to promote those naturist values in a modern setting that provides the amenities and services that our members and visitors expect. Free your body, free your mind. Learn more at www.bearoaks.ca.
giving them to one of the other fellows.
They've got their wallets out. They're giving Travers money.
Come on, Ben. You better come too, Mr. Fisher. This way out to yours?
No, to the left. That's it.
Let's hurry, huh?
This door, Sergeant. Right here. Travers. Travers.
Hello, Mr. Fisher.
They'd like to talk to you.
Yeah?
These men here are from the police department. They want to ask you some questions.
Can we go inside?
Sure. Come on.
Oh, what's the matter, Mr. Fisher? I haven't done anything.
Oh, we'll see. Come on.
What is it? What's it all about?
Sergeant?
It'll be a lot easier if we have the truth now, son. Did you just sell those boys out there some dirty books?
No, I mean, it's only a gag. They're funny books.
Have you got any more of them on you?
Yes, sir.
Can we see them, please?
I didn't steal them. They're only books. Funny books. Here.
Thanks. Almost a dozen. Mm-hmm. You think these are funny books, do you, Travers?
Well, some of them. I guess not. It's only a gag, Sergeant.
Where'd you get them?
I didn't steal them. I bought them off a guy.
Who?
Why, I can't tell you.
Do you have any more of these books?
No, sir.
Will you show us your locker?
I can't remember the combination. It's a new locker.
Could you open the locker for us, Mr. Fisher?
Yes, but I'll have to get the maintenance man.
All right, I'll show you. Come on. Down here, sir. This one. 412. I've only got a couple.
All right, we'll see.
Come on, open it.
I haven't done anything.
Here's a sample, Joe. Locker's loaded down with them. Rotten filth.
You can't arrest me. I don't sell the books, I only rent them.
Somebody's been briefing you. Who?
You're only making it hard on yourself, boy.
You can't prove anything. These are my books. I don't sell them.
Where do you get them? Who sold them to you?
Nobody. I got them, that's all.
All right. We'll have to talk to your folks.
You can't. They're away. No, you can't. Don't.
Afraid we'll have to, son.
Oh, please don't tell them. Please don't let them know I'll do anything.
All right, let's have the truth then. Who are you selling the books for?
Name's Barney. That's all I know. I meet him at a cigar store downtown, 5th and Harrison.
Does he sell you the books?
He gives them to me. I sell them and then give him the money. I get 10 cents for every one I sell.
How much do you sell them for?
25 cents. Some are $1. I get 30 cents for those.
And the boys in this school have been paying that kind of money for this filth?
Yes, sir?
This man who gives you these books, you know where he lives?
No, sir. I haven't any idea.
When are you going to see him?
Well, this is Wednesday. I was going to meet him downtown this afternoon.
The cigar store?
Yes, sir. But I don't want to get Barney in trouble. He's been okay to me.
Sure. He's done a lot for you.